Hey, what's up? It's your host Tori, and who is ready to be petty? Today I'm back with a special guest, Elena from the Girl We Gotta Talk podcast, and we chat a little bit about the Dancing with the Stars finale and recap some of our top pop culture moments of 2020. I definitely think I underestimated how many big ones happened this year, so I think I'm going to do a part 2 or part 3 during the rest of December and touch on ones that we didn't get to on this pod. I also want to clarify, I think we were like, oh, Meghan and Harry left the royal family this year, and I think that was last year. Still didn't look it up, but you know me. But I think like it was a lot of the aftermath in 2020 and a lot of like tabloids that came from that. So I just wanted to clarify that. And truly stick around for some really good advice from Elena about getting out of a rut and just normalizing feeling kind of yucky, especially nowadays. I really appreciated her sharing her insight about how she has kind of transitioned out of one of those phases and felt a little bit better. If there's anything you want me to talk about on next week's episode, let me know on Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook at RTBP Podcast. I'd love to include your ideas in our next episode. Okay, let's get to the show. I'm back with a very special guest. Elena from Girl We Gotta Talk podcast is here. Elena, how are you?
Hi, I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you. I'm so glad that we finally made this work and get to chat.
I know. We were like, the scheduling of it was like hectic. So I'm glad we could like do this. I'm very excited. I think this is going to be super fun.
Me too. Yeah, I feel like my friends listening are like, that's typical Tori. Like, can't get her shit together. Is over, always late, always double booked. But it's kind of, I don't know, turned into my podcast life too.
Well, you're totally fine. I literally did the same thing with work the other day. I double booked myself. So I feel like it's not a bad problem to have. You're popular.
No.
You're popular.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that reframe. I'm gonna steal that.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah. So I am, how old am I? I think I'm 23. I'm 2 years graduated from college. So just working from home because of the pandemic. I work in marketing, but my podcast is pop culture. It's a lifestyle podcast. So it's literally like just everything of me into a podcast. So I talk about like entertainment news and like celebrity gossip and then just like life stuff. So I do like a wine night series where people just come on and we just like basically vent about whatever's going on. Like my most recent one was about like old relationships. So it's just, it's just a fun time. And I try to have a lot of fun guests on and I love meeting new people and I love like chatting with new people. So the podcast has been so much fun because I get to meet people like you're in Canada. Like I get to meet people that are, not where I am. So it's been really fun.
Totally. Yeah. I find that that's like the best thing about starting a podcast. And I think the listeners of RTBP would also really enjoy your podcast. There's lots of crossover with all of the pop culture that you cover are things that we're interested in. And we also just like to talk about ourselves and what's going on. So it's
well, when you say it like that, no, but yeah, it is. I think our podcasts are very similar. So yeah, if you like pop culture, like come on over. It'll be a fun time.
Yeah, definitely. We've got a fun episode planned for you folks today. We're going to talk about the Dancing with the Stars finale. Because Elena's been following it more than I have. So I want to pick her brain on some of my final thoughts. And then it's December and I've been reflecting so much on the past year, but kind of on the fun stuff, not of all of the other shit that has gone down. And then kind of a little crossover with Girl We Gotta Talk. We're going to talk about getting out of a rut and starting January on like a fresh foot, as I think everyone wants to do. So Caitlin Bristowe, spoiler alert, won Dancing with the Stars. What did you think?
Okay, first of all, I love Caitlin Bristowe. I think I think it was a couple years ago where she kind of got like kind of screwed over because she was supposed to be on Dancing with the Stars, and then I don't remember the details of what happened, but they basically were like, you're actually like, they gave her Artem as a partner, and then they were like, just kidding, like come back. So she got a little screwed over there, and I'm really excited that she was even on this season to begin with, and then she got Artem, and I love Artem. I think he's an insanely good dancer, and he's super cool. But yeah, I don't know. So I'm happy that she won, but it was like, I kind of saw it coming, and I was kind of like kind of annoyed a little, only because like it was like expected, and I thought Neve, who was the runner up, deserved it a little bit more, but that's just my take.
Yeah, and I think like that's shared amongst viewers as well. I thought when this show was created, the kind of purpose was for people that have like no experience dancing and no background to learn how to ballroom dance. And I believe like the first like maybe 5 seasons were really, really pure in that way.
Yeah.
But I find like as time goes on, there's so many people that have dance experience or something really, really similar, like gymnastics, like a lot of crossover. And I don't know, sometimes I feel like that's kind of cheating. And I feel like you see those people, it's like, oh, the top 5 all have like dance experience. Like, who would have thought?
Right. No, it is weird. And I didn't even know that Neve had any dance experience, because I thought Neve was going to be like the nerdy catfish host. Like, let's see how this goes. Then he's like, yes, I actually once did ballet. And we're like, what? Like, what are you talking about? And then Caitlin had experience. And I mean, I feel like all of them kind of, I mean, Chriselle for sure did not have a slightest inkling of what she was doing. But yeah, I don't. In the past, like Sean Johnson, like you said, the gymnast, come on, and like Zendaya was on, and it's like, I think Sean Johnson actually may have won. So yeah, it's like a little, that's what I kind of feel too. Like, isn't it kind of cheating? I don't know, but it is different when it's different because it's ballroom. So like that could be the like the argument about it. It's like, yeah, they're a gymnast, or yeah, they did hip hop dance, but like it's not ballroom dancing. So I don't know. I thought Nelly was really good. I know a lot of people like from followers on my podcast, they're like, Nelly's going to take it. Like, he's going to win. He's the best. He deserves it. Because it's like, he really had to pull it out of himself, I think. It was definitely not, he was not in his element. But yeah, he was really good. And who was the top 4? I can't remember.
Justina?
Oh, Justina. And she was really good. I think that just came down to the fans. Like, she probably had the least amount of fans, which kind of stinks, but I thought she was really good. But yeah, I mean, I'm happy for Caitlin, and like, this is what she dreamed of. Like, she said it in every episode. Oh my gosh, did you see? I think it was Caitlin posted a video on her Instagram. It was like her and Neve in her kitchen. And they're going back and forth, and Neve's like, it's the sob stories for me. And she was like, what? It was hilarious. I was like, call her out, because I mean, I think they all have to have like somewhat of a story to say every week, but it was really dramatic. So I don't know. Totally. I think she's deserving of it, I guess, but a lot of them were. So I don't know.
That's true. It was like a really competitive year, whereas I feel like, again, I don't follow it super close at all.
Yeah, I don't normally either, but 1, this was like because we were in lockdown, and 2, it was like I knew every single celebrity, which normally I know like 2. So I was like, I'm gonna watch, I'm in it.
Yeah, and it was people that I really enjoy. Like you said before, Caitlin is like in my top 5 bachelorettes. Like, I love her. I love also that she like is from Vancouver and stuff like that, just because some things she says and what she talks about, like, it's just so close to home, which doesn't happen in a lot of celebrities. But yeah, I almost like the transformation of people that are like really bad to really good dancers more than I like care about, I don't know, these kind of easy endings.
Yeah I just feel like it was expected. She was like good from the start, so it's like, okay, yeah, here's the mirror ball. And same with Hannah Brown last year. It is interesting though with the Carrie Ann stuff, how like she was really hard on Hannah Brown last year, and like I I wasn't watching. I mean, maybe I just didn't remember this, but I was like really looking into it one night. I was very curious about how Carrie Ann treated Hannah last year versus how she's treating Caitlyn. And I was like YouTubing it for some reason. I don't know what I was doing. And
I love this.
But I found the clip of, it's like one of the final weeks, and then a judge comes in to where they like rehearse and stuff. They're like, you're gonna do the blah blah blah, and then they kind of watch and they kind of like critique it on, you know, on the spot. And Carrie Ann said something to Hannah, and like Hannah was just like, she couldn't do, she just was kind of like breaking down in a sense. And then Carrie Ann tried to like go over and hug her, and Hannah was like, put her hands up and was like, don't. It made me so uncomfortable. It was so cringeworthy to watch. And then Hannah was just like, I don't know why you're like calling me out every single time. And Carrie Ann's like, that wasn't my intention. I'm just here to help. It was very uncomfortable to watch. I don't remember seeing that last year. So I thought that like how Carrie Ann handled Caitlyn was a little bit better, probably because she went through what she went through last year with Hannah. But I don't know. The argument there is that like Caitlyn's so good and Hannah was so good. So it's like they're just going to be harder on you because they want to see you succeed. But it's interesting. It's just a weird dynamic because she would just really, like Caitlyn would do so well. And then she would be like, it just wasn't it for me. You really weren't selling me. And I'm like, what? Like,
I didn't know the stuff about, I kind of now remember that, but I don't remember following it like too in depth. But that's wild about the Hannah Brown and stuff, and that it wasn't a bigger like storyline or news headline. But I agree that they are way harder on the people that are like actually good at dancing.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I guess that's fair because you want to see them succeed, but like with Carrie Ann, it was very obvious. So it just felt like she was singling her out. So I felt bad because like then somebody else would come and she'd be like, that was the best thing I've ever seen. I'm like, it actually was way worse than Caitlyn, but okay. Like,
I know. And I wonder if they're like, okay, well, if we just say she's good every single week, we need to like cause some drama. So she just like has the tough role of doing that. But I think another thing that I've been thinking about a lot is just like Dancing with the Stars is an ABC show. So is Bachelorette and like Bachelor Nation. Do you just think that the people that come from that realm, especially these two girls who have like a huge following outside of it, do you think it's like just unfair that, I don't know, it's an ABC show? Their voting power is just like undeniable.
Yeah, I definitely do think it's like kind of an unfair advantage to the other people because they're on the same network. With Caitlyn, she was an older Bachelorette, so I don't know if her following would be as like crucial as like Hannah Brown literally coming right off of her season and into Dancing with the Stars. I feel like yes, that was probably exactly right, like an unfair advantage, but I don't know. It's interesting because it is ABC. So I do think about that a lot. I don't know.
Just because it's like the type of people that are, especially because it was on Monday nights. So I just feel like the type of people that would normally watch The Bachelor or The Bachelorette would now just automatically watch this. And like, they're probably the type of people that would vote too. Yeah. So I just find that, and like, I guess obviously there's been other, like Sean Lowe was on, Nick Viall, and like they didn't win. But it's just interesting how, I don't know, back-to-back winners with Hannah and Caitlyn, I just think is really interesting.
Yeah, no, it's definitely the demographic is there. And also it's very different nowadays with like, because before like this was a show that my mom would watch and I would like come in and be like, I don't know any of these people and then leave, you know? And you would have to like dial in like American Idol and call in. Now it's just like a quick text that you can send and then you're done. And it's like, I don't know, it is the demographic of I think Bachelorette fans, and also with social media, Dancing with the Stars and shows like this have changed so much. Like I follow a lot of the people already that were on this season. So I already knew they were going to be on Dancing with the Stars. And then like I watched their stories, and like with Caitlyn, when she danced for her best friend that passed away, she was posting Instagram stories from the days of rehearsals where she would like break down and she was bawling on her Instagram story, which it like broke my heart, but then it made me want to watch it even more. So the social media aspect of it like really elevates the show, because you're like, well, I already follow her and I want to go see her and support her and see how this goes. Yeah, it's very interesting how it's kind of evolved. And then Tyra Banks being the new host.
Yeah. What did you think of Tyra?
I don't know if this is unpopular or not, but I really don't like Tyra Banks. I find her very cringeworthy. I love some live TV, and I went to school to like be like I worked in like news at school and stuff. So
oh, cool.
I love like the aspect of live TV. I feel like it's so fun, so thrilling, but it can be so uncomfortable, and especially when there's no audience. And I think that was like really hurting Tyra because nobody was laughing at her corny ass jokes. It was a laugh track and then it would be delayed. So it's like, it could have been funny, but like it's not because no one's there. And it's just weird. And I love Erin Andrews, and I am really upset that they like kind of gave her the boot. So I don't know. She's not my favorite. She hosted America's Got Talent, and I thought she was terrible on there too. I think now I'm like just trashing her, but yeah. I think Tyra Banks, she was getting her footing. And so like the first few were like rough, and then like she got better over time, I think. But she does it differently than Erin Andrews and Tom did. So I think that might be part of why I'm like uncomfortable with it, but I don't know. And her outfits, sometimes I'm just like, you can't even walk, sweetie. Like you can't even like, when she had the sideways hat, I was like, oh, that's so cute. But then like, we can't see you. You're on TV.
I know. It wasn't like a good hosting outfit.
Like you can be a fashionista, but like know that you are the host of this show.
Yes. I
don't know, but is that like, I don't know how other people feel about her, but that's how I feel. I think people love her right?
Yeah, I think so too. Like I think that she's had a lot of like missteps in her career. Like I think a lot of the America's Next Top Model and like her talk show has come up and like it obviously has not aged well at all.
No.
But I think I love her from like Life Size and do you know that movie?
True. Yeah.
And just like I think she's just so like insane sometimes that I just enjoy it.
Yeah.
Like a lot because it's just so ridiculous. But I think, I definitely think she wasn't set up for success with it being a no audience this year and like the laugh track and stuff. Like that's such a good point. But I also just like, it's still so weird to me why they fired Tom and Erin because it was like a well-oiled machine. It was so random.
If it's broke, don't fix it. Like, it was so smooth.
Yeah.
I don't know why they wouldn't, like, why they took her out. And maybe just because they wanted something fresh, they want something different. I think Erin, like, when it happened, came out with a statement that she was, like, devastated. And people were like, why are you devastated? Like, you do sports, not, like, a dance show. And she was like, yeah, but, like, that was something that was, like, different and I was proud to get. So for that job to be taken from me was like hurtful. I felt bad.
Yeah, me too. I felt really bad for them, especially when you think of like Tom Bergeron's career at ABC,
right?
When it's like, it's probably over 20 years like in the making because he was on America's Funniest Home Videos. Yeah. So I just like could not imagine myself in their position. But yeah, I also just thought they had like nailed it. I liked Erin's like sportscaster feel because it is like a competition show and dance is a sport. So like it worked. I don't know. It worked. Yeah. For someone again who has not followed the show since like season 5 intimately, like I'm going to say this is my opinion on it. So another thing we wanted to chat about was just what has gone on in the world of pop culture in 2020 because, well, I think a lot of things have obviously been overshadowed with like real world events, which it's also good to focus on those things too.
Yes.
But some of these things that we're going to talk about are things that I like cannot even remember happened this year.
I know. It's weird that it's like when I was looking at some of the things we were going to talk about, I'm like, how did that happen this year? Like, it feels like 6 years ago.
Totally. And it's so warped, but I think that a lot of like really interesting things happened this year that we will just all try to forget because none of us want to remember 2020. Like, they'll just be lost to like the world. But it was kind of nice revisiting. I'm like, oh, these are some happy moments.
Yeah,
like,
some.
Just a few. The first one that I was thinking about that, like, I don't even think I talked too much on the podcast about this. I think basically every other story I have talked about. But Meghan and Harry, like, leaving the royal family and moving to California was, like, so historic. And I feel like I just, like, brushed over that.
Yeah, I can't believe that was 2020. I almost feel like it's not, and I want to like check, but it definitely is. So I'm just a little bit taken aback. But I remember when I heard that there was like rumors about it, and like it wasn't for sure, but she was like, I don't know, something came out that they were thinking about leaving, and I was like, okay, yeah, I'm sure they all think about leaving, but like nobody will. It's the royal family, like they can't. And they won't like let their family down. They left. The Megxit is what I think people were calling it. And I don't know. I have a soft spot for Meghan Markle, and I think she, for whatever reason, was just not taken in like Kate was with the royal family. Like, she just was not loved like Kate was. And that I'm saying that within the family, I'm saying that with like the UK. I just feel like nobody gave her the respect that she deserved. Like, she's freaking Meghan Markle, and she has so many great intentions. Like, she wants to do so much for this for the world. And I just feel bad, and I feel like they have like a really good strong relationship, her and Harry. And nobody was like taking her seriously, and she got criticized for everything she did. And I don't blame her. I don't blame her at all for leaving. That's a super hard decision to make. That is like literally what you said, historic. That is unheard of, doesn't happen. And yeah, California, probably way better than what she was dealing with back in the royal family. But crazy that happened. I can't even. Good for her, honestly. Good for her.
I know. Yes, I agree. I think like it'll be just way better for their relationship, but I also feel bad because I feel like they don't have like a fair chance to like thrive as a couple because like they moved away from their family, and I think from the tabloids it sounds like his family is like being very unkind about it. I don't know if you read, but around Remembrance Day he asked members of the royal family to lay a wreath for him at their like annual ceremony, and they declined to do that, which is so wild. And then the royal family released a statement and said like this was handled by some like lowly like communications person. It didn't go to the queen. She never saw this. And Meghan and Harry ended up doing something themselves in California. But it's just stuff like that I don't know. I feel like that's way too specific to be fake.
Totally. That's definitely not a communications person that did that. That's the queen herself, I bet you. I feel bad because, yeah, they don't have the support system. And I'm sure, like, imagine being William and Kate and being like, bro, you just left us. Like, I would be probably pissed off. And I'm the older sibling, so, like, I just, like, understand the frustration with Harry being like, all right, this is too hard. Like, we're out. And I just feel bad for Harry, but I also feel bad for William and Kate because now they're stuck with everything, and they're not going to leave. They can't leave.
They can't.
So I'm sure they're like frustrated. I kind of want to know what the relationship is like with William and Harry. Like, do they text? You know what I mean? Like, do they talk? But that's sad. I that sucks. They don't have the support system. And Meghan's family is just definitely not a support system by any means. So
Yeah, you're right. Like her like step siblings and dad are just like
crazy.
yes, the worst type of people, like selling stories to the tabloids and just being like generally awful. She's had such a rough go at it. Like you're totally right. They like never gave her a chance. It's just so weird to me. I haven't started watching The Crown season 4, but I definitely will. And it just seems so weird that like the queen was like, oh, with Charles, you can't marry Camilla or you can't date her because she's not like high society or whatever, like not a prestigious family. And then they push Diana on him. And then they're like, hate her so much. Like,
Yeah.
I'm like, fucking pick a lane. Like, seriously, it's so frustrating. Everything is a chess game, it seems like, and strategic and stuff. But I think that with Meghan, they like made a huge blunder. Like, I think she, like, so what? She's divorced and American and Black. Like, you are awful people. She brings so much to the table outside of those like identity markers that it's sad that they can't see that.
I remember when she was like about to get married to Harry, I said to myself, like, this is exactly what they need right now. And Meghan's energy and Meghan's like drive and Meghan's heart, like, she is just such a good person. And it's so terrible that the royal family has kind of like ruined her reputation in a way. She's done so much good and she wants to do so much good, and yet nobody talks about it. But what was that clip? It was like an interview that she did with some, I can't remember who it was. And she was like, nobody's even asked me if I'm okay. And I literally cried. I was like,
me too,
honey, are you okay? Like, I'll call you right now, Meghan. Like, I just, it's so bad. She's so lonely, and like, she's just trying her best. She only wants good for others. And it's like, this is the thing. Like, why are we, not we, but why is the royal family and certain people, why are they angry with her? Why do they not like her? It's not even like she's a bad person or mean or, you know, did anything. Like, she's just her. Like, she's just Meghan. And that's so shitty.
Totally. Yeah, they, I feel like, never gave her a fair chance. And it's so weird because I feel like the royal family has this wish to modernize and be more like valuable to the UK and to the rest of the world. And then here's like a perfect way to modernize. Like, Meghan walks in and it's like she has this really interesting backstory with like being an actress, and she like is just well-rounded. She's lived in so many different places. She's like really up to speed on like social media and like current trends that like hurt young people. And it's, yeah, it was, I don't know. It's so weird that they didn't want to like not capitalize on that. That sounds awful, but like,
but when you're the royal family, yeah, capitalize on it.
Yeah, like just have a mutually beneficial relationship. Like it's still so weird. And if I could know the ins and outs, I would love that. I think that there's a book that details this, that she possibly contributed more than people are saying. So I'm really, really interested. I think that's going to be on my like 2021 things to do, is read that book.
Yeah. For starters, I need to watch The Crown. I only watched season 1 like a while ago, like when it came out, and then I never kept up with it. And I really want to watch that. I want to watch like, there's a what's the Diana? Is it a documentary, something that just came out too, that's like more on Diana?
Yes.
Yeah. And then the thing about Meghan's book, so there was a book that came out, and it's not written by her, but when you read it, I didn't read it, but I know this from wherever. I don't have a source, sorry. But
yeah, that's okay.
When you read it, it sounds like, I mean, there are details in the book that she would only know. So it was very obvious when it came out that she was very much contributing. And then now she recently like put out a statement like, yes, like I did help write the book. And we're like, yeah, no shit. So I want to read that too. I want to just know more about all of this because it's very, since the Meghan and Harry like scandal and them leaving, it's made me way more interested in all of this. Like I just want to, yeah, what you said, like I just want to know everything.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too. And I feel like sometimes I'm like, The Crown is the only way I'll know like the truth or whatever.
It is like pretty, for the most part, it's pretty accurate. There is obviously like stuff for like dramatized and stuff, but like for the most part, pretty accurate.
Totally. Yeah. And I think I'm going to deep dive that like over the holidays. I think that's the perfect time because I think I finished the third season, but it did take me a longer time just because the episodes are a lot longer than like a normal TV show, and it's like pretty heavy stuff, and it's not always like the quickest pace. Like it is kind of filmed like a movie, so it just took me a lot longer to watch than like a normal TV show.
Yeah.
What else happened this year? Speaking of TV, like it was such a wild like TV year. Like Tiger King, I never even watched it, to be honest.
Never watched it. Oh my gosh.
No. So obviously like every single person in the whole entire world has like said you need to watch it. I still have not watched it.
I'm shook. Yeah. Tiger King also just feels like a completely different year. That was like part 1 of quarantining, and Tiger King's so lucky we were locked in. Cause I doubt I doubt I would watch it otherwise, but I don't know, like that preview played and I was like, what the hell is going on? And I had to just press play. Very interesting stuff. I don't even know what to say on that. Yeah. And also that's everyone's Halloween costume this year. Like my next door neighbors were Joe Exotic, and then the wife was Carol Baskin, and then they had only one of the daughters was a tiger, like the other one was like a dinosaur, so like doesn't count. But yeah, like everyone was dressed up like that, and
totally.
I don't know how I feel on that. I mean, everyone does like the current event of the year, so it's like it's fine.
It makes a lot of sense, but I just feel like I would have never dressed up like that because it's like you just know that there's going to be like 100 of those people.
Yeah, everyone else will do it, so why are you going to do it? Yeah.
Yeah, so like even Kim Kardashian did it. Like
I was shocked she did it.
Me too.
She could have done so much better. And then there were spiders another night or something.
Oh my God, I posted that on my Instagram stories. The spiders, and was it like aliens or something like that? I can't even remember, but it was like so fucking weird.
So bizarre. I was like, what am I even looking at, and why did you let this happen to yourself? Like, what is going on?
Her comment was like, I'm finally getting over like my fear of spiders. I'm like, you don't even like, you hate them. Like, why are you dressing up like that? Like, that's so weird.
Rather die. I would rather die.
Same. And I was just like saying on Instagram, like I thought Kim Kardashian could make anything hot. Like, she looks good in everything. And I was like, a spider costume, who knew, was the one thing that you could not make sexy. Like, you look awful.
This is ridiculous. Yeah. I think she's just like the good mom, and I bet you North was just like, let's dress up as spiders, and she was like, okay, Northie. And I'm like,
yeah, like,
okay,
we'll
draw a line, hon. Draw a line.
Totally. Or I feel like it was one of Kanye's like crazy ideas. But yeah, I wonder where those like spider costumes live. Like, they couldn't have worn them all night. They were huge.
That's what I'm saying. I don't know where do those go?
I don't know. I have no idea. But yeah, even that feels like a lifetime ago. Another really big thing was, I think, just like TikTok blowing up, and TikTok like houses and TikTok drama. I feel like that's something I've dived into a little bit this year, and it's so juicy. I feel like the YouTube and the TikTok drama is just a lot more like raw than like kind of classic TV movie celebrities, because they probably don't have like publicists that have worked in the field forever, and they just don't have that polish, I feel. So it just seems a lot crazier.
Yeah, TikTok was taking over kind of quicker than I thought it was going to, and then all of a sudden it's like Charli and Addison Rae are like literally celebrities. Like, I started noticing that E! News was posting about Charli D'Amelio, and I was like, what? Why? And then I started to realize that like she is just as big at this point as like very, very A-list celebrities. I mean, with the younger generation, but still, that was like a big moment for me. I was like, oh my God, they're literally talking about TikTok stars. And at that point I was like, who cares? I'm like, oh, apparently 100 million people care.
Yes.
But yeah, I actually got so addicted to TikTok that I deleted it like a couple months ago.
Yeah.
And I was just convinced to get it again. So I got it like 2 weeks ago. And I haven't been on it that much because I'm literally like, I was the person that was on there for 4 hours and I forgot like what time it was. And like literally losing sleep over trying to memorize like dances and like,
oh my God.
not even that. It's like just so funny. Like TikTok is just so funny. But yeah, it is weird how these kids, like, I mean, how old is she? Like Charli's like 15 or 16 or something.
Yeah.
It's so crazy how quickly they became names, like very famous people. Yeah. And then what was the recent thing? Did you watch the it's like the D'Amelio dinner thingy where like James Charles came on? Did you see that?
Of course.
Okay, what were your thoughts? Because I'm curious.
I think like I'm kind of like two-part answer. It's like I think they were being bratty and like a little bit annoying and like they weren't shown in the best light. And then the second piece, so like I agree that they were being like annoying and a little bit disrespectful. But then the second piece is just like they are 16 and 19. They became famous literally this year. They probably have no roadmap of like what's going on. And I was just thinking about how many times I've acted up in front of a camera or a microphone and like said or done stuff that I thought was really funny, even though it was like dumb and mean or like whatever. So I think like my first reaction was like, this is awful. I can't believe this. I don't think they should get like canceled or anything. Like so many people have done way worse things. But I think I've softened that everyone makes mistakes. And I've also been like an asshole on camera. So what about you?
I didn't even I don't like follow their YouTube channels or anything. So I only saw it once like someone posted it and like an article came out about it. And I was like, they're definitely not getting canceled right now. Like that's not happening. So I watched the video kind of like looking for what I was looking for, which was when Dixie was like spitting the food out and like throwing up by the pool and then just being like super snotty about like eating the snails and stuff. I agree. I think they were being very I don't think they acted right at all. I think because of the fame, and maybe they were like this before, but I think because of the fame they do have some sort of, I mean, you kind of have to, like, you just became famous overnight, essentially. You have to have some sort of like entitlement with you. And I think that was definitely what was going on with Dixie was like, I mean, and even I feel like it's like how she was sitting at the table too. She was like slouched back with her knees up. And I remember when I was like that age or even younger, I would try and do that at dinner and my parents would be like, can you stop? Like, literally sit right. You're at dinner. So I'm like, that's kind of frustrating to see because it's like you're at dinner. But also the biggest part of the whole thing is like, you can be like, fine, be like that. Like you are 19 or however old they are. I think Dixie's 19 and Charli is like 16, right? Mm-hmm. So it's like, fine, you can act like that, but like when you're literally doing a YouTube video of you,
smarten up.
Yeah, like you're being recorded. So like sit up straight. Like this is your job now. So take it seriously. A professional chef is cooking you a beautiful meal. If I had that meal, like granted, I probably wouldn't have eaten a snail. Maybe I would have tried it, but even if I didn't like it, I would have been like, okay, I probably wouldn't even have said anything. Like, put it away because this man is like slaving over the stove for me. Like, I'm not going to be a jerk about it. So it's, I think she she's young and she's gonna learn, and I'm sure she learned after this, but like if you're being recorded and you're doing essentially what your job is, like, and you have that's okay, wow, I'm just running.
I love it.
But yeah, if you're on camera, act a certain way, this is your job now. But also you have, and the word like role model is a little tricky because like she is a role model. Whether she wants to be or not, she is. She has kids following her from, I bet you like very young kids are on TikTok that their parents don't know. So like I bet you 7-year-olds, 6-year-olds are following Dixie. And they very much know how to go to YouTube, and they see that and they think that that is okay. And so that's what also is the frustrating part of it. It's like you have children and you have young adults watching you, so you need to act a certain way. But I am very against cancel culture. So I don't think this was like anything to be canceled about. I don't really think anything is. But I just think that was really blown out of proportion. Although I do agree with you, like they were acting kind of bratty. And I don't think they were canceled. I think they're back. Charli got 100 million followers after she lost like 1 million. She's fine. But I think that probably woke them up a little bit. And I bet you the next dinner is going to be very proper.
Totally.
And even, I don't even know, will they do it again? They probably are scared to do it. It'll probably be a while, but.
Yeah, or maybe they'll put one out quickly to like capitalize on some of this like chatter.
Yeah.
At least that's what I would have done.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree about like, you're right. It is like a job, because I think the parts that I actually were like bothered by more was like when Dixie was like, yeah, like on her phone, like she was like texting, or she was like doing something that was just like not, it felt like the parents were asking, and like asking James the questions and stuff, and they like didn't want to be there and stuff. And I would have just like, so the questions I always have are like, how did the editors and like their like publicists and stuff like let this happen? Like they should have cut more. But also I just always think of like, and maybe since you have camera crews and a chef and stuff, it's not easy. But I'm like, if they're not in the mood to do something, or like if it's not going well, like shut it down and like start again tomorrow. Because I think that's like another thing, especially with young people, like they might just not have the longevity or like the concept of like how you would even show up to a job. Like I just think about my first job, like I worked at this like wrap place, like where it was kind of like a Subway, but like for wraps. And like that's where you learn about like you have to show up on time. You have to have all your things like in order, and like you have to, like, you have responsibilities now. And it seemed, yeah, like they just didn't know that. I don't know. It was tough.
Part of me is like, I wonder, because I also thought like, okay, the person editing this is probably like, bro, like she's such a brat, right? Like they're probably looking at that, but I bet you that's just how they are, and that wasn't even a second thought.
Yeah, that I don't like thinking about that because
I just
like,
feel
maybe they are
I
like
just
this.
feel like maybe that's just how they are, and like everyone has accepted it, and not that it's like the worst thing in the world, but like that's just maybe their attitudes about certain things. So they just were like, well, this is just how they are. So I don't see anything wrong with it. I also think it looked way worse because they were sitting next to James Charles, who was sitting like a freaking king. He was so respectful, so articulate, so just like responsible, polite, like all of the above. So in contrast, they just looked ridiculous. So I think that was also a big part, because it's like we see James being like, yeah, I was 19 and I got canceled and this is how I handled it and I'm very professional. And then, yeah, Dixie's on her phone and Charli's like, yeah, I don't even like this stuff. I want to eat chicken nuggets. Like,
yeah.
And the parents are like running the conversation. I also think the parents got a lot of backlash because of their quote unquote parenting. They didn't really say anything to them, which it's also like something like that can be uncomfortable, because you don't really want to say something to your kids in front of a guest. So it's like you just kind of hope that they like wake up a little bit and like stop acting like that.
Yes.
But I don't know. And like they were running the conversation and that made me uncomfortable too because it was like, can't they just, then it made them seem more like children because they were like, the parents were asking the questions for the kids. He was like, James, what do you suggest Dixie do with this? And like you went through that and it's like, can't Dixie ask him that? I don't know.
Totally.
It was a little odd. The whole thing was just a little odd. I just feel like it shouldn't have gone up, but all in all, they shouldn't have been canceled. And I don't think they officially were. I think they're just like,
Yeah,
they were
they're like
ridiculed and they're back.
totally. Yeah, that's a really good point about Charles because Charles. James Charles.
We're talking about the crown again.
Yes, we're back at the crown. But that's such a good point about James because he is like just slightly older than Dixie, but he just seems so much more professional, and maybe it's like he's just so put together, and maybe that's because he has these couple years under his belt, but it's just, that's a really good point, is like the juxtaposition of both of them just looked so bad, especially because like, I don't know, I just feel like also it's like a million people would absolutely kill to be in your position. Like, you're right, not just with the food and the chef, but like on YouTube with this platform and this house and stuff like that. And you just hope that people, like that celebrities like are appreciative. And I'm sure most of them are, but I think that was like another thing that I just always hope the people that I'm like supporting, whether it's like just viewing their videos, etc., like are
grateful
and are good people and stuff like that. Not that I think they're bad people. I do actually think they're good people. I quite like them, but yeah, I don't know, when you would like kill to be in their position, it's like hard to see them being like a little bit bratty and then posting it like online. It just seems like an oversight.
I think Charli and Dixie for the most part are actually very good role models. Like before this happened, I think Charli is very she's very adamant about like thanking people, and just she's very gracious, she's very just like grateful, like I don't know, she is just a genuine person to me. And I am, if anyone was gonna blow up and be a famous TikTok star, like I'm honestly glad it was Charli, because she's so down to earth in my opinion. And she almost, to me, I kind of favor her a little bit more than Dixie, only because to me, she seems like she doesn't really care about the fame. Like she's not letting the fame get to her, and she couldn't care less if she was famous or not. She was just dancing on TikTok and this happened. So she wasn't seeking it out. Dixie, on the other hand, was kind of along for the ride and got her fame kind of that way. But I just think like Charli, for the most part, is a very good role model for young kids. And I just think they're doing the best they can. And I'm sure in a couple of years, they're going to have that James Charles like poise to them. But
yes.
They're just learning right now. And I hope that they learned after this.
I think that it's also wild to just think about, like the cross from TikTok to other celebrities. Like I was on Spotify the other night. Dixie has a song with freaking Liam Payne. Like a Christmas song.
No.
Yes. It's like Liam Payne featuring Dixie D'Amelio. It is so weird to me that I listened to it and it wasn't great.
I was going to ask you, is it good?
I don't think so.
Liam Payne doesn't do it for me anymore. You know what I mean? His solo stuff is just not what we needed.
No, it truly when you're like, when it's again compared to Harry Styles or like Zayn, like it's just sorry. But
sorry, Liam, not for me.
Yeah, I stan Zayn and Gigi for sure. That was another big thing. Yeah, just like Gigi Hadid having a baby and like Joe Jonas having a baby. Like, yeah, it's been wild this year.
It was the year of having kids, really. On my podcast, I always post breaking news, and someone made a comment to me and they were like, Elena, seriously, can you stop? Because it's like engagement, marriage, babies, engagement, marriage, babies. And I'm like, that's fair. Because what is everybody going to do? They're going to probably elope. They're probably going to decide to get married really quick. They're going to decide that the person they live with, they want to be with. So why not get engaged? They decide, why not have a baby because we're locked in? Like, it's just so funny how many children were born this year or were created this year. Like,
yeah, and pets. So many people adopted
dogs and
dogs.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, that's such a good point. And I just feel like celebrities also are on a different timeline than us normies. Like, they probably mature, or they're put in situations that are more mature as younger people, and they just like end up having kids younger and stuff like that. And they have the money and the resources to like support that.
Totally.
So
yeah,
that's great for them. Is there another big story that happened this year that you want to chat about?
Yeah, I think so. I think Demi Lovato just hosted an award show, so it brought it all back for me because she even made a comment about it, which is hilarious. But her getting engaged this summer was such a shock. I don't even know how to say his last name. It's like Max Enrich or something. I butchered it, I bet you. But someone who I didn't know, basically. I don't think anybody really knew him. And she was like, looked so happy in the engagement photos. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is it. Like, she deserves happiness. Like, I love Demi Lovato with my entire heart. And she's just been through so much. And especially with like the last year or so, like, she just needed something to like look forward to, be happy about. And so I was super excited. And then months later, well, I think it was only months later, they broke it off because I don't know if you know this, but there were like tweets that came out, and also he's just kind of cringe, so I'm sure she just kind of got sick of him, but there were like tweets that were resurfaced, which is just such a 2020 thing that happens now. And they were like all calling out Selena Gomez as being like so hot, and that like he wants to marry her and be with her, and like she's the most beautiful woman that he's ever seen, and like she writes all this amazing music, and even made comments about like Selena being better looking than Demi was and things like that. So that all like resurfaced, and then like shortly after they split. So I did some digging, as I do, and he is just such a little, like, I don't even know. I wish there was like a good word to describe this, but someone that just tries to hop on like celebrities' coattails and tries to gain fame from their fame. So that was what he was doing in my eyes with Demi, was like, let me get engaged to this like mega star. And that way, because he's an actor, I think he may sing, like, that way I will get, people will know my name and I can get the fame off of Demi. And so I think she caught on to his games. And for those tweets to resurface, and if like my boyfriend had tweets that resurfaced that were talking about how hot my ex-best friend was, I would be like, bitch, what? Like, who are you? Like, you clearly knew who I was and you were seeking me out, or like seeking one of us out. It was just, the whole thing was so bizarre, and I was so shocked because like everything was such a whirlwind. Like they had like the long engagement posts. So I was like, oh, she must be so happy. And then clearly this happens. It was just insane. So 2020, right?
I know. And like how it happened over the span of this year is just also so weird. I was really rooting for them because the way that their relationship was outed was she was on like a home Zoom like interview, and then he just walked through the background, and I was like, that is so relatable. That obviously wasn't planned. It was an accident. And I was like, this is just like real.
Yeah.
And then this happened.
Yep. And now you realize that was probably intentional, and he probably was like, let me just.
Yeah, like, oh, I didn't know Demi was like talking to like E! News or something right now. Yeah. Like, it was such a big deal. And then it's just been so downhill from there. And recently he was spotted hanging out with like an 18-year-old girl, like with his arm around her.
I know.
So
there were like the days after they called off the engagement and that it was like released that they were like breaking it off. He was calling like the paparazzi on himself.
Yes.
And there's a photo of him sitting on the beach where they got in. This was just so ridiculous. Where they got engaged. And he's just like staring out into the distance, just like so heartbroken. Like, oh my God.
It's so
Everybody feel bad for
bad.
me because this is like where I found love and this is where I've lost it. It's like, go home, first of all. Nobody
Yes.
cares. Like, what?
I hope he just disappears into oblivion and we never speak of him again, because that's what he deserves, honestly. Like, it's interesting to see like couples that we maybe consider like as couples that are put together for like fame.
Right.
But I also feel like there's the type of celebrity where they're like maybe not doing well like mentally, and then these, like, I think of Kevin Federline and Britney Spears, like just like these people finding and like making their way into like people that are like kind of possibly struggling. Not that she was struggling at the time, but I don't know. I just never want to hear the name Max. Yeah, Elric or whatever.
Whatever it is, we
again.
don't care.
No, and like I won't care to learn it because this is the last time I'm saying it.
Exactly. Oh my gosh.
So speaking of like 2020, these were like all pretty fun memories, but I think it's been a really tough year for people. And you talk on your podcast a lot about, yeah, like living your best life and kind of being true to you and personal stuff. And I was listening to your episode about getting out of a rut, and I feel like I really resonated with it. What are some things that you've done to like get yourself out of a rut?
Yeah, I think being in a funk and being in this like weird, uncomfortable space has definitely escalated. Being locked in and being home with myself all the time. I used to think that I'm a pretty outgoing person, I would say, and I love hanging out with people, and I love meeting new people and just doing things in general. But I also knew this about myself, that I love some me time. I love just like going home, or like knowing that I get to go home after like a long night and just being by myself. I always like appreciated that. So I thought that like when we were in this lockdown, that it was going to be perfect and I would have all this me time and I would just enjoy it. Like, and honestly, I would say for a month and a half, like it was fantastic. And then I started to get over it, and I would get in these weird moods all the time. And just like, I didn't want to talk to anybody. I didn't want to see anybody. I was honestly a little like mean. And for no reason, just because I was just, I don't know, I was just like uncomfortable with like being alone and just being in a weird, I was in a weird mindset and whatever. So I've started, and especially being home, I kind of like needed to, I didn't want to stay in that space. So I kind of forced myself to get out of it. And I mean, being miserable is never fun. So like, and I'm somebody that, oh my gosh, I was just looking at this today. Do you know what like Enneagrams are? Like
Yes,
your Enneagram
yeah.
type? Okay. So I'm an Enneagram type 7. So that means, or part of what that means is I avoid anything that is like sad or that's going to upset me, or just anything negative. I try to just like avoid it. Like it's not happening. That's not how I feel. So part of that was like me trying to get out of a funk. I was like, there has to be things that I can do. I wouldn't say I'm in a funk now, or in this current moment. I feel pretty solid, but I'm sure in a couple of weeks it'll hit me and I'll be in another funk and feel like I can't get out of a rut. As far as like things that I would recommend doing, or things that I've done personally, one of the things, and it's probably so annoying to hear because when people would say this, I'd be like, shut up, but exercising. And it doesn't even mean like doing an insane workout by any means. At the beginning of all of this craziness in the pandemic, walking was like the only thing that we could do, was like leave your house just to walk. I found those super beneficial. It was either I put a podcast in and walk around the block and just like let go, or I just listen to music, or I don't even put headphones in and I just walk and like listen to nature, which just sounds like so old lady of me, but it was so perfect. It was like everything I needed to just like release what I was feeling, and it just kind of like let me relax for a second and get out of like the four walls that I've been in, but also like actually working out and doing and like running. And I'm not by any means like a runner, but just like running for like a couple of minutes on the treadmill just to like release those endorphins is huge. And that's also with like the walking, you're still releasing endorphins, like, and that's what makes you happy. So and gets you in a better mood. So that's like the biggest thing I'd say. But I don't know. I think it's hard to say to like call people or to text people, because when you're in a rut, that's the last thing you want to do. And you almost just get annoyed if someone's like, just call someone, you'll feel better. It's like, shut up. No, like I don't want to, because I'm not in a good mood. Like,
totally.
But sometimes I would have planned, and this is all going back to like quarantine, but this doesn't need to be a quarantine conversation. Sometimes I would just plan calls with my friends, because if I knew it was going to happen, I'm not going to be a jerk and cancel. Like, I'm just going to call them. And then by the end of the phone call or the FaceTime or whatever it is, it's like, I'm in such a better mood. Like, I'm talkative now. I'm happy. Like, I just caught up with a really good friend of mine. And I'm back. So that also helped. Another thing that I like to do, and I do it all the time, especially like being home, I just kind of like do me for a little bit. Like, I light some candles. I have my Christmas tree right here. I need to light it soon. I need to plug it in, because that'll make me happy. But like, plug your Christmas tree in or whatever. Watch like whatever your favorite show is, and put your phone on do not disturb. That's the key. And put your phone away, because I think my phone is something that I'm on all the time, which is good and bad. Like, I kind of have to be for the podcast and some communication with people and stuff, but for the most part, like, I don't need to be on it that much. And it's so nice to not be on it. And I think sometimes that does add to your mood. And if you get into a rut, it depends on like why you're in a rut. And sometimes you don't really know, but if you're like comparing yourself on social media and you're just scrolling through, like, that's going to make you more mad. So
Totally.
I like to just watch my favorite show, turn my phone off, light some candles, and just kind of chill. Maybe a little face mask, like whatever you want to do that's going to make you better. Take a bath. I'm not a bath person, but like, take a bath. I don't know. And just kind of like block everything out for like the night, because then you can wake up refreshed and hopefully be in a better, happier mood and not feel so bogged down. So those are just like, I would say the main things that I do. But yeah, it's very normal to feel like that. And I think nowadays people are talking about, and I mean, rut isn't like the end of being in a rut, isn't like the end of the world. It's not, I'm not necessarily saying like any of that, but it's normal. Like, we all get in moods, and we all get in weird mindsets. So it's just important to like also just check on your friends. I always just like send texts to like my really good friends every now and then, just to be like, hey, like, how are you actually? Because I think that's really important. But yeah, that's just like some of the things that I do to like get myself out of that funk.
I think you said some really valuable things, like setting up your environment to something that's, more conducive to relaxation and your tree, and just, taking some alone time. And the phone thing, like, that is something that I really, really want to work on, is like, is time for yourself. Because like, when you were talking about going for a walk and taking out your headphones, like, it's so funny how that's like such a wild concept. But the few times I've like forgot headphones, or like just been distracted and like not listened to a podcast or put on music, have been so nice.
It is so weird, but it's like, oh shoot, and you feel annoyed that you did that, but then it actually is really nice. I actually really like it.
Yeah, it's so important. And I think the thing about being in a rut is like, you can't tell you're in a rut. I feel like you just feel shitty, and I feel like you can't pinpoint it.
Right.
And Yeah, I think like what something else you said that I really liked is just like you just want to be like alone, but that's like the one of the worst things you can do. And like to make that effort to call people and to like chat with people, just it makes you feel so much better. But yeah, I feel like sometimes it's like I never know when I'm like exactly in a rut, but then like I'll be comparing myself a lot to other people, or I'll snap or be mean or like whatever to my family or friends, and then it's like those are the indicators that I'm like in a rut or not enjoying what I'm doing, or something's been bothering me and that I just like haven't dealt with. And I don't know, I feel like 2020 has just been like a whole rut. So I'm so grateful that it's December, and I really like feel like putting just like this year aside and just kind of moving forward in 2021, putting some focus on me doing things that I want to do, and yeah, kind of getting out of this rut.
Yeah, I think a lot of us have so much hope for next year, so that I hope it meets our expectations.
Yeah, me too.
But yeah, I think it's totally normal to be in a rut. And it's funny you said snap. I always like that's literally like my indicator of I'm not in a good space, because I'm pretty like maybe some would disagree, but I feel like I'm pretty easygoing. And so when I do like snap at somebody or say something that like I shouldn't have said, I'm like, and then it's like the self-realization of like, okay, why did you do that? And then you have to
Exactly.
kind of not pinpoint it, but definitely figure out like what's making you upset and like try and, you know, revert that. So yeah, I don't know. I think also with the calling your friends thing, some things that I do, I'll literally just text a friend or my boyfriend and say, hi, can I vent or can I call you? Like I'm not in a good mood. And like I don't need to express really that I'm in a bad mood. I just need to talk to get myself out of the bad mood. So,
Totally.
like, as soon as I'm on the phone with someone, I'm back. So, I don't know. I think
Yeah.
it's just you're alone a lot right now, and we're with ourselves way too much. And so it's only normal that this happens. Not to say it doesn't happen any other time, but yeah, just important to like do what's best for you and find something that you like, that you enjoy, that you know if you start to do, you will feel better.
My boss asked me the other day, because we do like fun check-in questions and stuff at work to just stay connected even though we're all working remotely. And she asked like, what is your favorite song that like brightens your mood? And for some reason I like hadn't even thought of music in that way for like a really long time, of something to just like put on that you can sing or dance to or whatever, that just like immediately brightens your mood. And I was like, how did I not think of that?
Yeah.
It seems so obvious. And I feel like it's really easy to go to things that are distracting but not like uplifting or whatever, like social media or even podcasts or like TV and stuff like that. And I was just thinking about how like music is kind of different from those things, and that's something I should like lean into.
Yeah, that's actually really funny you say that and how I didn't say that, because I'm such a music junkie. Like I love music. I'm constantly listening to it. So much that people are like, "Okay, can you like stop? We've been listening to music all day. Like can you just turn it off for like 1 second?" But it betters my mood. It gets me happy. And something else that I do, part of like the self-care is, and this is so embarrassing that I'm even admitting this, but I'm sure everyone does it, so I'm just going to say it, um, is I will queue up a couple of songs that I know I can like really belt when I'm in the shower. And then I get in the shower and I freaking sing my little heart out. And
Nice.
I have a great time doing that. And then I get out and I am just back. Like I
Yes.
sang what I needed to sing. And I don't know, it just makes you feel good. And it's like whatever song like floats your boat, it's like a good shower song, sing that and listen to it, and it'll get you in a good mood. I don't know. That's something that I do almost every day at this point, because it's like there's nothing really to look forward to day to day, and that is something that I look forward to most days. So
I love that. seems so like energizing, and yeah, it's something to look forward to. That's a really good way to put it, because you're right. The day-to-day is like really mundane, I feel like, nowadays.
Yep.
Yeah, that's so good. I think, yeah, we'll take away a lot from this. We want to wrap up with This Week in Petty. Elena, do you have a story you'd like to share?
Okay, so yes, and I need your take on it. So basically, there is a girl that I went to college with, and she's not somebody that I'm super close to, but she's not somebody that I despise, or, you know, we didn't have any beef. But there's always been kind of a weird vibe with the two of us. I don't know why. I don't know why it is. I think that we are very similar, so it's weird that this is a thing. So I started to notice that she started to unfollow a lot of my social media accounts, which is fine. Like, unfollow who you want to unfollow. It's totally fine. Don't care. But since I noticed that, I also started to notice that there's a new account that follows all of my accounts, like my podcast account, my Instagram, my personal Instagram, and things like that. And it's like under a weird name. She only has 3 followers, no posts, and follows like 5 other people, random people that I don't know. So it is the same letter as her name. So,
oh, wild.
I'm not sure if this is me being like a girl and overthinking it, but it's just kind of all very suspicious. So I just think that if that's the case, it's very petty of you.
Yes.
And yeah, I mean, she's like stopped liking things, and it's something that I've like literally if I've noticed it, like, you're not that sly. I don't know. What are your thoughts? Do you think it's her?
I don't know. I feel like it's fun. It's really funny if it is.
Yeah.
At some point, I feel like with social media, if you're viewing people's stories, like, even if you don't have a relationship with them per se, like, it's not weird.
Right.
Because I feel like when social media first came about, and you like watched people, like, it was weird to watch someone's like stories, for example, if you didn't like personally know them. But I find, like, for example, someone from my high school, I graduated high school 10 years ago in 2010. And someone from my high school added me on Instagram and like watches every single one of my stories. But I'm not like weirded out. Or maybe I am. That's why I brought it up. But like, it doesn't seem like
your
that
subconscious
weird.
Is like, she's very weirded out.
yeah. Like, maybe that's why I brought it up. But I'm like, it's not out of the norm. Or like, people view my stories that I'm like, I haven't talked to you in like 6 or 7 years. So it's just weird that if it was her, why didn't she just continue watching your stories from her account?
I don't understand. Maybe because it's like the satisfaction or something. Like, I just think that she thinks that there's beef, but there's no beef. So like, in her mind, she's like, well, I'm not going to view her story. I'm going to be blah, blah, blah today.
I don't
know. It's so bizarre.
Totally. I do think that some people, I don't think I've actually ever done this, but I do think that people think it's like a chess move or like some type of slight or like one over the other if you like, stop liking their pictures or like something like that. And I'm like, man, this is, for me who is a petty bitch, like, this is just one step too far. Like, I don't care that much. Like, It's so weird to think that way, but
it's a lot of work for that person. Like, if you're gonna, because if you're like scrolling through your liking, you're purposefully scrolling, looking at it and making sure you're not liking. That's more work on you. Like, that's a you problem, sweetheart. That is not a me problem.
Totally. The username has her first like initial in it, but who are the other people that she's following?
Random like bots, like random accounts. So I'm sure that no, it's 3. I'm looking it up right now.
Okay.
She follows 3 people. This person.
Oh my God.
I'm looking it up. Okay.
And it's all your socials and then just other bots. That is
It is so weird. And it pops up because like she doesn't even have 3 followers and following 46.
Oh my God.
She's following a lot of people I know.
It for sure is her. Because I was going to say, if it wasn't following other people you know, it's probably just random. But that is 100. I swear to God.
It's like, come on, sweetheart. Come on.
That's so funny.
You've confirmed it, and that's all I needed.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I'll let you know what my next move is.
I don't know. Have you ever thought about making like a burner account? Like obviously people have like Finstas and stuff like that, but I've never wanted to make a fake account to like look someone up.
No, I mean, I definitely hear of it, but it's never been something that like I would do. It's too much work. It's like too much work. Like I don't care.
I don't want to make like a fake email or something like that.
Like,
and I'd be too scared to put my like other emails and then it get traced back to me. So like I would have to make a fake one.
Oh my God, yeah, you're right.
I will say though, if I do want to look up someone that I don't follow or like they're private and I don't want to request it or whatever, I'll find someone like one of my friends or one of my sisters who does follow them and I'll like look at their account through there. Like I will do that, but I'm not making like a fake account.
You're not doing the most to like, make it. That's totally normal. You're not making an account and making it the initial of your like, oh my God.
That is so funny. Are you going to do anything about it? Like, are you just going to leave it be or?
I don't know. First of all, first emotion is like, I'm flattered that you care this much because I for sure do not. But I don't know. What's my next move? I mean,
I don't know. Like, do you block the account?
I know. I thought about it because then when she tries to go to my thing, it's going to say no post or whatever it says. Yeah. And then it's like, oh, I caught her. I kind of just like, should I follow it?
Yeah, follow it back.
It's going to be, I'm going to follow her and it's going to say, that's me basically saying, I see you. Like, I see you, bitch.
Yes. And then it'll, like, the next hour, it'll be like, user does not exist.
You're not found. She's out. She was outed.
Yeah, that's so interesting. I love that. I think that's such a funny story. I think, like, if it was and they used their first initial and only followed people that you know, because that bots I don't think would know have that much of
it's
a
like the
pattern.
Top 6 are people that I knew. Top 6
Yeah,
followers.
That's weird. That 100% is a burner account.
And that is the tea, sis. There's the tea.
Yes, I love it. Well, this was so much fun. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you so much for having me. This was so fun. I feel like I don't talk enough pop culture on my actual episodes, so this was super fun.
Good. I'm so glad. Where can the listeners of RTBP find you?
Okay, so you can find my podcast, Girl We Gotta Talk. It's at Girl We Gotta Talk Podcast on Instagram, and then I also have a Facebook for it. And then my personal account is at Elena_Jakes. But yeah, my podcast is on all platforms, so Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and all the little funky ones. So whatever you listen to, it's on there. But yeah, come on over and listen if you want.
Yes. Thank you again so much for coming on.
Thank you. It was so much fun.
And there you have it. Thanks so much, Elena, for joining me. And thank you so much for listening. I've been feeling a little bit down lately. Our kind of lockdown in BC where I live got extended till January 8th. So unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to see my family for Christmas. And listening back to this episode was really helpful about like the things we need to do for ourselves to take care of ourselves and, have a good laugh. Well, to end on that absolutely Debbie Downer of a note, you know the drill by now. Leave RTBP a 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts and follow along with our crazy adventures on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, especially if you want those celebrity gossip updates. I hope that you are safe and well. As always, I'm your host, Tori, and I am ready to be petty. See you soon. Bye.